The 3rd and 2nd centuries BCE witnessed a monumental struggle for dominance in the Western Mediterranean, a series of conflicts known as the Punic Wars. These 3 wars, fought between the burgeoning Roman Republic and the established maritime power of Carthage, were not merely territorial disputes but a fundamental clash of civilizations that would ultimately determine the future trajectory of the ancient world. The Punic Wars, marked by audacious strategies, devastating battles, and the rise of legendary figures, culminated in the utter destruction of Carthage and the undeniable ascension of Rome as the Mediterranean's preeminent power. The initial catalyst for the Punic Wars was the strategic island of Sicily, a crossroads of trade and influence coveted by both Rome and Carthage. The First Punic War, 264 to 241 BCE, erupted from a seemingly localized conflict in the city of Messana, quickly escalating into a large-scale confrontation for control of the island. Carthage, with its long-standing naval expertise, initially held the advantage at sea. However, the Romans, demonstrating remarkable adaptability and determination, rapidly built and improved their own fleet, famously employing the corvus to transform naval battles into extensions of land warfare where their legionaries excelled. The war became a test of endurance and resources, with both sides suffering immense losses. Ultimately, Rome's tenacity and its ability to absorb defeats and rebuild its forces proved decisive, leading to a Roman victory and the cession of Sicily, marking Rome's first overseas province. The period between the First and Second Punic Wars, 241 to 218 BCE, was not a time of lasting peace, but rather a tense interlude during which both powers consolidated their strength and harbored grievances. Carthage, weakened by defeat and facing internal unrest, including the costly mercenary war, sought to expand its influence in Spain under the leadership of Hamilcar Barca and later his son-in-law Hasdrubal. Rome, wary of Carthaginian resurgence, also expanded its control, annexing Sardinia and Corsica. This period was crucial in setting the stage for the next, more devastating conflict, particularly with the rise of Hannibal Barca, who, according to tradition, swore eternal enmity to Rome from a young age. The Second Punic War, 218-201 BCE, is indelibly marked by the military genius of Hannibal. His audacious plan to invade Italy by crossing the Alps with his army, including war elephants, remains one of history's most astonishing military feats. For over a decade, Hannibal ravaged the Italian countryside, inflicting a series of devastating defeats on Roman armies at battles such as Trebia, Trasimene, and the catastrophic Battle of Cannae. These defeats brought Rome to the brink of collapse, shattering the myth of Roman invincibility, and causing many of Rome's Italian allies to defect. However, Rome's resilience, its deep reserves of manpower, and its refusal to surrender, coupled with the Fabian strategy of attrition employed by Quintus Fabius Maximus, prevented Hannibal from achieving a decisive victory or capturing the city of Rome itself. The tide of the war eventually turned with the emergence of Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus, who mirrored Hannibal's strategic brilliance. Scipio took the war to Carthaginian territory in Spain, achieving significant victories, before launching a daring invasion of North Africa. This forced Hannibal's recall from Italy to defend Carthage. The climactic Battle of Zama in 202 BCE saw Scipio's forces decisively defeat Hannibal, effectively ending Carthage's ability to challenge Rome's military might. The terms of the peace treaty were severe, stripping Carthage of its overseas territories, its navy, and imposing a crippling indemnity. Despite Carthage's diminished status after the Second Punic War, its continued commercial recovery, and the persistent fear and animosity among some influential Romans, most notably Cato the Elder, led to the Third Punic War, 149-146 BCE. This final conflict was less a contest of equals and more a brutal act of Roman assertiveness. Fueled by the cry, "Carthage must be destroyed," Rome sought a pretext for war, finding it in Carthage's defensive actions against Numidian aggression. The war was primarily a 3-year siege of the city of Carthage. Despite a desperate defense by the Carthaginians, the Roman forces, led by Scipio Aemilianus, eventually breached the city walls. What followed was a brutal and systematic destruction of Carthage. The city was razed to the ground, its inhabitants slaughtered or enslaved, and its very site, according to some accounts, cursed and sown with salt, a symbolic act of utter eradication. The consequences of the Punic Wars were transformative. For Carthage, they meant complete obliteration, the end of a once great civilization. For Rome, the victory solidified its control over the Western Mediterranean, providing access to vast resources and opening up new avenues for trade and expansion. The wealth and territories acquired fueled Rome's growth from a regional power to a dominant empire. The The wars also had a profound impact on Roman society, contributing to the professionalization of its army and the rise of powerful military leaders. The Punic Wars were a crucible that forged the Roman Empire, demonstrating Rome's military prowess, strategic adaptability, and unwavering determination to achieve dominance, forever altering the political and cultural landscape of the ancient world.